kimwe FM twese hamwe birashoboka.
We got you updated. This is Radio Manzi News in English.
This is Radio Imanzi broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa. The headlines. President Paul Kagame says for a partnership to exist, there has to be mutual respect between involved entities. The Ministry of Public Service and Labour has moved to implement the Safety and Health Program, which targets establishment of safety, health and welfare of workers. Meteorologists across the globe predict that the world is creeping closer to the warming threshold. Welcome back. News in detail. President Paul Kagame says for a partnership to exist, there has to be mutual respect between involved entities. The president was speaking at the 40th anniversary of Rwanda-Rhineland-Palatinate Partnership, where he joined virtually the Minister-President of Rhineland-Palatinate, Minister of Economic Cooperation and Development, and the Chief Operating Officer of BioNTech Group. Rhineland-Palatinate is a southwest German state with more than 4 million people. In his address, President Paul Kagame said that for every country, whether developed or less developed, everything, politics, security, stability and governance is work in progress.
The partnership has been there for the last 40 years, and it is a pleasure for me to join you tonight to mark the 40th anniversary partnership between Rhineland-Palatinate and Rwanda. I thank Minister President Malu Dreyer for the kind invitation, and I wish I could have joined you personally. Allow me to appreciate the warm welcome and gracious hospitality during my last visit to Mainz. I thank the people of Rhineland-Palatinate for the contributions made to our country's development, especially through productive twinning partnerships with the several Rwandan districts. This relationship is reinforced by the good development partnership that Rwanda enjoys with Germany as a whole. Minister Schulz, I'm happy to see you again so soon after your visit to Rwanda. Since 1982, a lot has changed in Rwanda, in Germany, and in the wider world. As we look to the future of the partnership, we should look with fresh eyes at how we can best support each other. In particular, I would like to see more private sector and business linkages from both Rhineland-Palatinate and Germany with Rwanda. The presence here of Dr. Zak from BioNTech is an indication. The innovations of this company, based in Rhineland-Palatinate, have changed the world for the better and saved countless lives, and we thank you. We are very pleased to have embarked on a partnership with BioNTech to build an mRNA vaccine production facility in Rwanda. This will not only impact and improve Africa's resilience in the face of pandemics, but also transfer skills and knowledge to young Rwandan engineers and scientists. We welcome even more of this kind of productive people-to-people exchange in our partnership with Rwanda and Palatinate. I can also mention the program to train Rwandan engineers at the Technical University of Kaiserslautern, which has been very beneficial. This is a model we can look to extend. 28 years after the genocide, Rwandans are a people with a totally changed mindset. Now, there will be many questions talked about, but all we draw from that is that as we see today and saw yesterday and it will be there in the future, I think for every country, developed or less developed, everything, politics, security, stability, governance, is work in progress. Every country, without exception. So that's why the word partnership is always going to be important. And in the partnership, people have mutual respect. They disagree, they agree. Above all, they continue working together moving forward. But Rwandans have not wasted any time to learn lessons of our own situation or lessons we can draw from the strength of partnership we have with different people, especially with Rhineland-Palatinate and with the federal government of Germany. And we look forward to continuing in that way of mutual respect and working together, and that's what makes sense of any partnership. Rather, we seek, therefore, to take charge of our destiny by partnering with countries, friends, like Germany, like Rhineland-Palatinate, to build world-class institutions and a healthy, highly educated population. Going forward, this is the spirit that should guide and anchor our partnership.
The partnership between Rhineland-Palatinate and Rwanda began in 1982 as an unusual attempt by two countries to reshape development policy and has now become an internationally recognized model of citizen-oriented, decentralized and efficient development cooperation at the local level. The Ministry of Public Service and Labour has moved to implement the Safety and Health Program, which targets establishment of safety, health and welfare of workers at places of work. The ministry, in collaboration with the Rwanda Biomedical Center and Rwanda Social Security Board, established this program to target established a government budget to support employees' medical tests at their workplaces to improve their health. The Minister of Public Service and Labour said health and safety should be one of the values at every institution or work, and employers should also be able to protect workers from work-related accidents. The minister also noted that having safe and healthy employees should be the employer's culture in institutions, including doing sports and conducting employee medical tests and testing mental illnesses that has been reported by medics. According to RBC, the program aims at encouraging employees to conduct regular medical tests but also prevent diseases and mostly non-communicable diseases including cardiac issues, cancer, diabetes and hypertension, among others. The Rwanda Development Board, in collaboration with Rwanda Mines Board and GAZE, have carried out research that found out that Rwanda has quality sand that can be used to make glasses used in construction, drinking containers and glass bottles. This research was the basis of the pitch by Rwanda Development Board during a retreat of private sector federation leaders in Bugesera district. Zephanie Niyonkuru, the deputy CEO at Rwanda Development Board, said while Rwanda relies on imports for her glass demands, the country has quality sand that can be used to produce such materials. According to the 2019 trade data of the United Nations Comtrade, Rwanda spends $22.6 million on glass and glassware imports. RDB's rally to the private sector to invest in glass making comes at the time Rwanda has outlawed single-use plastics. Major General Umar Diarra, the Chief of Defense Staff of Mali, is in Rwanda for a 3-day official visit to acquire expertise in the reconstruction of a country and capacity building of security forces. He, along with his delegation, was received by his Rwandan counterpart, General Jean Bosco Kazura, and the Minister of Defense, Major General Albert Murasira, today at the Rwanda Defense Force headquarters in Kimihurura. Diarra said they are here to draw from the unique Rwandan experience and the stability in the country, as well as the capacity of Rwandan army to conjoin, for example, the case in Mozambique. He said that it is the same trajectory for Mali of reinforcing the capacity in terms of operating autonomously and defending the territory, protecting the population and their properties. Diarra said that going forward, they will engage in cementing the military cooperation between both countries by signing a memorandum of understanding, and the only remaining thing is to convince the political authorities to promote this cooperation. He noted that military cooperation between African countries is really important to address the issue of terrorism on the continent, which requires capacity building.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Meteorologists across the globe predict that the world is creeping closer to the warming threshold, with nearly a 50-50 chance that the Earth will temporarily hit that temperature mark within the next 5 years. With human-made climate change continuing, there is a 48% chance that the globe will reach 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels of the late 1800s, at least once between now and 2026. This is a bright red signal in climate change negotiations and science. The report also predicted that Africa's Sahel region is expected to be wetter than normal. President Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone has officially launched a bid for a seat in the non-permanent category of the United Nations Security Council. The ceremony to launch the bid was held on the theme Partnership, Multilateralism and Representative Approach to Sustained Global Peace and Security. The Council is one of 6 organs of the UN, and it has the primary responsibility of maintaining international peace and security. Sierra Leone served in the influential position once, from 1970 to 1971, since it joined the UN in 1961. The president said those 2 unforgettable years served as bold footprints that continued to define the West African country's commitment to its international obligations and its unflinching support for a multilateral rules-based world order to advance and sustain global peace and security. The son of Ferdinand Marcos appeared to have been elected Philippine president by a landslide. Marcos Jr. had more than 30.8 million votes in the unofficial results, with more than 97% of the votes counted as of this afternoon. His nearest challenger, Vice President Leni Robredo, had 14.7 million votes in Monday's election, and boxing great Manny Pacquiao appeared third highest. Marcos Jr. and his running mate, Sara Duterte, avoided volatile issues during their campaign and instead stuck steadfastly to a battle cry of national unity. Marcos Jr. has not claimed victory, but thanked his supporters in a late-night address to the nation video where he urged them to stay vigilant until the vote count is complete. The election winner will take office on June 30th for a single 6-year term as leader of the Southeast Asian nation hit hard by 2 years of COVID-19 outbreaks and lockdowns, and long doubled by crushing poverty, gaping inequalities, Muslim and communist insurgencies, and deep political divisions. France's socialist, green, communist and far-left parties have joined forces in an alliance ahead of legislative elections on June 12th and 19th. After a first-round presidential election that saw far-left leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon fall just short of a place in the final, France's reinvigorated left wing has set its sights on winning a lower house majority, with Mélenchon eyeing the post of prime minister. The agreement sets out a joint slate of campaign proposals and apportions shares of constituency nominations to all the allied parties, who have pledged to field a single coalition candidate in each of France's 577 legislative districts next month. The iconic portrait of Marilyn Monroe sold at $195 million, making it the most expensive work of a U.S. artist ever sold at an auction. The 1964 six-screen image shows Monroe in vibrant close-up, hair yellow, eyeshadow blue, and lips red on a rich blue background. It's also the most expensive piece from the 20th century ever auctioned, according to Christie's auction house in New York, where the sale took place. Christie's said an unnamed buyer made the purchase Monday night. When the auction was announced earlier this year, they estimated it could go for as much as $200 million. The proceeds of the sale will go to the Thomas and Doris Amman Foundation Zurich, which puts the painting up for auction. The foundation aims to help children with healthcare and educational programs. Manchester City has announced that they had reached an agreement to sign star striker Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund. The Norwegian international will move to the Etihad after the Premier League champions reportedly agreed to pay his €60 million release clause. Firefighters in New Mexico's Rocky Mountain foothills are prepared to excavate new fire breaks and clear brush to create more defensive lines aimed at preventing a massive wildfire from destroying more homes and tinder-dry pine forests. The fire, the largest in the United Nations right now, has burned nearly 300 structures including homes, commercial buildings and barns. The fire jumped a highway, taking hold in rugged areas difficult for firefighters to reach and prompting a warning for more residents of rural villages to be prepared to flee quickly. Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi. Moving on ahead, the Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 79,729,100 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 3 deals on the fixed income market and 355,000 Rwandan francs from 2,200 shares traded in 2 deals on the equities market. I&M closed the counter at 43 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 43,000 Rwandan francs and 1,000 shares from 1,000 shares traded in 1 deal. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 260 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 312,000 Rwandan francs from 1,200 shares traded in 1 deal. Bralirwa closed the counter at 160 Rwandan francs. Simerwa closed the counter at 120 Rwandan francs. M10 Rwanda at 179 Rwandan francs. Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs. Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs. National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs. Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs. And RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. The selling price was 8.8 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.281 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.287 Rwandan francs. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.5 Rwandan francs. The US dollar buying price was 1,010 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,030 Rwandan francs. The British pound buying price was 1,249 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,274 Rwandan francs. The euro buying price was 1,069 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,090 Rwandan francs. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.